What if the years you think you wasted were never wasted at all? This morning, 3 things the Bible reveals about your timeline that will completely change how you see your past. A Hebrew word that means God doesn't do refunds. Finally, the difference between the clock you live by and the one God uses, and why you were not late. You were right on time. There's a very specific kind of heaviness that hits you when the house is quiet and you start doing the math. Not your bank account, not your mortgage, the other math. The quiet arithmetic of regret. You look at a calendar and instead of seeing days, you see subtraction. If I had started this at 25, if I hadn't spent a decade in that career, if I'd only known then what I know now. And the worst part isn't the math itself. It's that you do it alone, late at night, or early in the morning before anyone else is up. Because who are you going to tell? Who's going to understand that you're grieving something you can't even name? I spent over 20 years in the restaurant industry, director of operations, promotions, raises, titles. I was good at it. And I remember the day I finally looked up from the ladder I'd been climbing and thought, I am winning at the wrong thing. The most dangerous kind of failure isn't losing, it's winning at the wrong thing. I was 40 plus, or as my spouse likes to say, 2020 plus, and I felt like I was showing up to the starting line of my real life, while everyone else was already on their victory lap. 20 years. That's not a wrong turn. That's a whole atlas. If that's you this morning, if you're sitting there doing the math on your own life and the numbers aren't adding up, stay with me. God showed me a word this morning that changes what those years actually were, and it's not what I expected. God. Some of us showed up this morning carrying a number of years we think we wasted. Before we open your word, would you just take the clock off the wall? Not forever, just long enough for us to hear what you've been trying to say about those years. This morning, God put something in front of me that stopped the math. It's from the prophet Joel, a man writing to a community that had watched everything they built get stripped away. Not all at once, in waves. And what God says to them changes everything. I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter, my great army which I sent among you. Joel chapter 2, verse 25. Let's sit with this. My mother used to have these old embroidery hoops. You know the kind, the wooden circles with the fabric stretched tight. When you look at the top, it's beautiful, intentional, a floral pattern with every thread in place. But flip it over, and it's chaos. Knots, cross threads, what looks like a dozen mistakes tangled together. And here's what I never understood until this morning. The weaver uses the tension of those knots to hold the whole design together on the other side. Without the knots, the pattern unravels. We've been staring at the underside of the tapestry our entire lives, convinced the mess means we ruined it. Now look at what Joel does. He doesn't just say, locusts. He names 4 of them. 4 waves. Because destruction doesn't usually come all at once. It comes in stages. The swarmer, in Hebrew, Arbe. That's the sheer volume. For me, that was 20 plus years of restaurant work. Just showing up, performing, delivering. Successful by every measure anyone could see from the outside. Then the hopper, Yelek, the larval stage, small but relentless. That was the creeping realization that my success wasn't landing. The quiet thought you push down at 3 in the morning. I'm good at this, and it doesn't matter. Then the destroyer, Chasil, the stage that consumes identity. I wasn't just a guy who worked in restaurants. I was the restaurant guy. The career had eaten who I was. I didn't know where the job ended, and I began. And finally, the cutter, Gazam, the one that strips what's left down to bare wood. That was the day I looked at people further ahead in my industry and realized, further ahead in the wrong direction is just further lost. And then something happened that I did not see coming. A book landed on my shoulder, Deepak Chopra's Perfect Health. I'd never heard of Ayurveda in my life. I couldn't even pronounce the 3 doshas. But something in those pages felt like a thread I was supposed to pull. I went to the Chopra Center in La Jolla, California. I sat in a room full of people who were nothing like me and felt more at home than I had in 20 years. When I returned, I quit my job. No plan, no safety net, just a thread. Then my brother-in-law in Arizona was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. I sold the house in Reno and moved to help my sister's family. He passed on New Year's Eve, the year he was diagnosed. The worst year of my family's life planted me in the soil where everything grew. The following years brought many changes. My going back to school, starting my career over at the bottom in a new industry. I met Shannon, my future spouse, married her, opened the first spa, then 2 more spa locations. Not to mention, Shannon had a major health scare, a brain subdural hematoma, and I packed up the second spa while she was still recovering, not knowing if she'd live. We told that story in our Philippians 4:6-7 episode, The Nest Inside the Thorns. If you haven't heard it, the link is in the description below. We had 1 spa during COVID. Arizona shut us down for a month, and when we reopened, we posted a banner year, beat every previous year in revenue and profitability. 2 years ago, I sold the final spa to focus on God and family. And that decision led to this, you and me, right here. Now let's go back to Joel. Look at that word restore. In Hebrew, it's Shalam, and it does not mean give back what was taken. Shalam is the PL form, the intensive form of Shalem, and Shalem is the root of Shalom. It means to make whole, to make complete, to leave nothing missing and nothing broken. And here's what nobody talks about. In the Torah, when a thief stole your ox, he didn't pay back 1 ox, he paid back 5. Restitution under Shalem always exceeded what was lost. God doesn't do refunds. He does restitution, back pay. And restitution, and he always overpays. He didn't restore my restaurant career. He restored the purpose that those 20 years were secretly building. Leadership, operations, reading a room, managing people under pressure. Every one of those threads, every one I thought was wasted, the weaver gathered them as raw material for what came next. 5 oxen for 1. But here's where most of us get stuck. We're grieving on a clock that God doesn't even use. There are 2 words for time in the New Testament. Chronos is the one you know, sequential, ticking, calendar time. That's the clock you're staring at when you say, I wasted 10 years. But God operates in Kairos, the appointed time, the right moment. Not early, not late, set. Galatians 4:4 says, "When the fullness of time had come, God sent His Son." God's biggest move in all of history didn't happen on a schedule. It happened at the appointed moment. That's Kairos breaking into Chronos. You know that house in my neighborhood that sat as a frame for 2 years? Just wood and Tyvek wrap? Everyone called it an eyesore. It looked abandoned. But this week, the crews came back, and in 4 days, they did more than they had in 2 years. God can accomplish more in your restored season than the locusts took in your wasted one. God brought that image home while I was walking my labs near the wash yesterday, and I saw something I almost walked past. A sacred datura, blooming in the middle of a gravel patch where nothing should grow. These massive, white, trumpet-shaped flowers that open at sunset and only last for one single night. Beautiful, fragrant. And here they were, early for their species because of our Arizona heat, but late compared to every other desert flower that bloomed a month ago. And they did not care. They didn't compare their petals to the February flowers. They didn't ask permission to bloom on a different schedule. They just showed up in their own Kairos. You're not late. You're on time for your season. I think it's time to stop staring at the underside of the tapestry. Stop pulling at threads that have already been woven in, and hand the whole tangled, knotted, beautiful mess of your story back to the weaver. Come with me. Before we pray, take one breath. Breathe in what the weaver has already woven. Breathe out the thread you've been trying to pull back. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we're here, and most of us showed up still doing the math, still pulling at threads that were woven in years ago, trying to unravel a knot we think ruined the whole pattern. But you are the weaver, and you've been looking at the top of the tapestry the whole time we've been staring at the underside. As I pray through these next few moments, let a face come to mind. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's someone you love who's been doing the math on their own life. Hold that face. We're bringing it to the weaver. God, we thank you that you are a God of Shalam, not refunds, restitution. You don't give back what was taken. You make us whole. You overpay the loss. And we thank you that the restoration you've already set in motion is not a maybe. It's already been decided in heaven. We're just catching up to it on the ground. So right now, we lay down the quiet arithmetic, the subtraction we've been doing on our own biographies, the number of years we've labeled wasted, the careers that felt like the wrong ladder, the relationships we stayed in too long, the milestones that passed without the life we thought we'd have by now. We lay it all down at the foot of the loom. What are your hands doing right now? Are they open? Or are you gripping something? A phone, a steering wheel, the edge of a blanket? What would it feel like if your fingers just loosened? Not giving up your story, just handing the threads back to the weaver. You don't have to hold the pattern together. Not for the next 5 minutes, not for the rest of the day. Just let the thread be still. Father, I pray for the one who just hit a milestone birthday. 30, 40, 50, and the number landed like a weight instead of a celebration. They're grieving the gap between where they are and where they thought they'd be. God, press the stop button on the math. Remind them that you don't operate on Chronos. You move in Kairos, and Kairos has no too late. I pray for the person who is packing up something they built. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's a dream that didn't survive the locusts. They're standing in an empty room doing the math on how many years they poured into those walls. God, even as they pack the boxes, you are gathering every thread, the leadership, the endurance, the sleepless nights, the pain, and weaving it into something that exceeds the loss. 5 oxen for one, Lord. 5 for one. I pray for the person who is watching everyone else's timeline and wondering what went wrong with theirs. The friend who got the promotion. The sibling who seems to have it figured out. The stranger on a screen whose life looks like the one they were supposed to have. God, turn their eyes back to their own loom. You are weaving something in them that has never existed before and will never be duplicated. And God, we bring you the stalled construction in our own lives. The parts of our story that look like a frame with no walls. The things we've called abandoned. The dreams we've called dead. We thank you that the crews are coming back. We thank you that you can accomplish more in a Kairos weekend than the locusts took in a Chronos decade. And God, we're not praying from above these people this morning. We're praying from among them. We are them. We're the ones who succeeded at the wrong thing. We're the ones who showed up to the starting line while everyone else was on their victory lap. So where are we still pulling at threads you've already woven in? Where are we still staring at the underside and calling it the whole picture? Where are we still doing the math when you've already issued the restitution? Forgive us and free us from the quiet arithmetic that says your grace has an expiration date. We declare over this day and over every life listening, God does not do refunds. He does restitution. And restitution always overpays. The years the locusts ate are not lost. They are raw material in the hands of the weaver. And the weaver does not waste a single thread. And there remains a rest for the people of God. It remains. It hasn't been revoked. It hasn't expired. We are entering that rest today, not because we've finished our work, but because we trust yours. So go into your day as a thread in the weaver's hands. When the math starts running again, come back to Joel 2:25. When the should voice tells you it's too late, come back to the sacred detour, blooming in the gravel, on nobody's schedule but God's. Watch the steam. He's got the big things. You're not late. You're on time for your season. You are held. The pattern isn't finished, and the weaver is not worried. Here's what I want you to carry today. When the meeting runs long, when the text hits wrong, when the math starts up again in your chest, come back to this. He will restore the years, not some of them, the years. That's Joel 2:25. That's your anchor today. Say these with me, out loud if you can. Let them settle somewhere behind your ribs. Because God is the weaver, I am exactly where I need to be. Because God operates in Kairos, I am never too late. Because God is Shalam, I am not just restored, I am made whole. That is Joel chapter 2, verse 25, and that is his still small voice. If you needed to hear that your story isn't over this morning, would you drop a thread emoji in the comments? I'd love to see how many of us are handing the threads back to the weaver today. And if this hit something in you, go back and listen to our episode, God Wants to Rescue Your Mind, 2 Timothy 1:7. It's for the person who's been trying to willpower their way through what only God can restore. The link is in the description below. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. In the name of Jesus, amen. If this prayer stirred something deep and you feel like you need more than words right now, please don't carry it alone. Reach out to someone you trust, a friend, a pastor, a counselor. You're worth the help, and wise support is one of God's good gifts too. You're not alone. I'm praying for you.